Hello everyone, my name is Chris Phelps and welcome to my Florida All-State Etude series. Today we're going to be working on the 9th and 10th grade technical Etude. It's out of the Rubank Advanced Method Volume 2. It's on page 22 and it's number 3. Remember, if you like this video, go and hit the subscribe button at the top, hit the like button at the bottom so you get notifications of when I put new content online. Let's get started. So now that we've listened, I'm going to work on the 3 things that I believe are most challenging about this etude. The first one is how to achieve that light, fast articulation throughout the etude. The second one is how to get flow in the 16th notes and how to achieve musicality within the 16th note groupings. The third thing is the trill at the very end, how to work on getting a lip trill, and if you can't get a lip trill, then how to finger it. So in order to work on our tongue and how to speed it up and get that really light articulation, first we want to be thinking about where our tongue is hitting. We want, for this piece, because it's in a Baroque style, we want the tongue to be very light. So we want it to hit a little bit higher up than what we might be used to. To work on those 16th notes and speeding up our tongue, we're going to use a really simple exercise. You should see it on your screen. We're going to play it on a C major scale, and we're always going to be using our metronome. I use Tonal Energy, a great metronome and tuner app, and we're going to set it below what our tempo is actually written, which our tempo is quarter note equals 96. That's what we're aiming for. I'm going to set it to quarter note equals 80, and we're slowly going to work up from there. The whole time, I'm going to be thinking about getting my tongue a little bit higher than where it needs to be in order to get that really light Baroque style articulation. And so on. And then we're going to slowly speed it up. I'll crank it up to 90. I have a really bad single tongue and a really slow single tongue, so I might work slower than other people. Some people may have a really great single tongue, a really fast one, so they might work faster. Even if you have a really fast single tongue, you want to be thinking about the style and that lightness. I'm at 90 now. And when you're doing this exercise, the group of 4 16th notes should have a little bit of a crescendo through it, a little bit of push and direction to the air. And that's going to correlate really well to our etude, where we push through the 16 notes every single time. It's really important that we think about that light articulation. A harsh articulation would sound like this. A lot of students are going to go into that recording and have a really heavy articulation for this etude, which is not what we want. We want the air to be first. And now we're going to speed it up to 96, our goal tempo. I would suggest going even farther than the goal tempo so that our tongue actually works harder. We never want this exercise to be easy. We want to be always pushing our tongue to be going faster. If it's easy, that means our tongue isn't working, it's not improving. If we feel like we're struggling a little bit, like a weightlifter at the gym, when you lift weights, you're struggling each rep, that means you're gaining muscle. Same thing with the tongue. You're getting better if it's struggling or lagging a little bit. So a tempo for that might be a little bit faster for me. I can feel my tongue struggling a little bit, and that's what we want when we're working on this tonguing exercise. The second thing that I found myself struggling with in this etude was how to achieve a sense of direction, first within the 16th note groupings and then within the whole bar. So what I did to work on this was I first looked at each 16th note grouping. So let's look at just measure 1. Bum, 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 bum. We want the 3 descending 16th notes to lead to the second beat. That little bit of motion is going to help us not think of each individual note, but as a full one beat. And that's going to give us a little bit more flow. So I would take that and I would apply it throughout the whole piece. So I would first do the first beat of measure 1. And then I'd do the second beat of measure 1. And then I'd go on to the next measure. First beat of measure 2. It's almost like I do a little crescendo on each of those beats to give us more flow and more motion and more direction. That's musicality. And then I'd go on, I do measure 3. And then I'd start piecing it together. And then once we have the 16th notes, the second piece of direction or motion that we want to look at is the bigger beats. So we want to think about look at the first measure, beat 1 to beat 3. Bum, 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 bum. Those are bigger beats. Instead of each individual small grouping, we have a bigger grouping now. Bum, 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 leading all the way to beat 3. The way I would work on that is I would start taking away notes. So I would first, if we look at measure 1, I would first do the first note of each beat. The E flat, then the first note of beat 2, the F, and then the first note of beat 3, the G, like this. And then I would add the and count of all of those. So we'd have from the very first measure, this is not including the B flat pickup, we'd have E flat, F, F, G, G. It'll sound like this. And then I want to think about leading all the way to the last G. And then I do that with the next measure. And so forth. And I would do that with all of those 16th note passages. And then I'd start adding in even more notes. That's the first 3 notes of each 16th grouping. And then finally, I would piece it all together and I'd add the last 16th note of each grouping. And I do that for every single measure. So we make sure that we have memorized what that direction and what that flow feels like. The last thing that was challenging for me with this etude is that trill at the end. And I can imagine for a lot of high schoolers who have not ever encountered a lip trill could be extremely difficult. This might not be something that you can do right away, maybe not even for the All-State audition, but it's something to definitely experiment with and try. So go to the very end of the piece, the last measure. We've got that F to G trill. This is a true lip trill. Earlier, in the second line, last measure, we have an A to B flat. That's not a lip trill. That's a finger trill. It would be trigger 1, 2 to trigger 1. But the F to G in the last measure trill is a lip trill. That means we only do it with our face and our air. One exercise that I really like to do with this is just a simple lip trill exercise. I'll put it on your screen for you, but we start here. We'll start on an easier note. It's C in the middle of the staff, and we go up to D in the middle of the staff. and we're just gonna slowly increase the rhythmic duration, or slowly decrease the rhythmic durations so that it gets faster and faster and faster, like so. It should be on your screen. And the way we do that is we think O and E. We do this all with our tongue in our air. We move between the notes with our tongue in our air. The lower note's going to be a little bit more O, a little bit lower tongue, and the upper note's going to be E. And what we want to do is try to find that space in between the two notes. What I mean by that is we actually want to bend the note upward, so we go like this until we hit that next note. And we're going to try to keep that space as close as possible so it's easiest for us to go between them. And we just want to slowly work on that exercise, making the space between the notes as small as possible. And we want to speed it up and just get it faster. And then we start working our way down to the harder lip trills until we get to this one, the F, which is on fingering 1 and 3. And then we add it into context. One thing to think about when we work on these lip trills is we want to use more air than we think we should. We want to push through. A lot of people are going to want to back off with their air, but we want to drive through the air. Lip trills are a very advanced concept, and a lot of students will not develop a lip trill until later on, so this is just something to work on. That's one reason why they give you this etude, so they give you more challenging things to work on. A lot of you might not have experienced such a hard etude because you just auditioned for middle school All-State last year. That's okay. These are just techniques for us to work on. You can do that trill without actually doing a lip trill. There are a lot of different fingerings you can use for that trill, but what I believe would be easiest would be trigger open to open. That's because going from trigger to non-trigger is a very smooth transition and will help when you're going that fast between the two. So it'll end up sounding like this. And if you notice, to make that transition even easier, instead of using the normal 2 fingering for the E flat, I use trigger 1 for the E flat. Listen again. And that'll get you a nice smooth transition between those notes. And that's all I have for you today. Remember, if you like this video, hit the like button and the subscribe button, ring the bell so you get notifications of when I put new All-State videos and just other horn videos online. Make sure you follow my Instagram at Chris Phelps Horn for cool updates and just cool horn stuff. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to message me or put them in the comment section. If you have etudes or excerpts you want to hear, also put those in the comment section. Thanks guys for watching and have a great day.